Welcome to Uptown Consortium's 5th virtual panel. Today's panel is part of our ongoing effort to engage with the Uptown community and support small businesses. And we're really pleased that we have some Uptown businesses and community members that have joined us today. For today's discussion, we've partnered with local businesses and marketing experts in Uptown Cincinnati. Panelists include 3 Shortvine businesses who will share their experiences and marketing ideas that have been successful during the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as 2 marketing experts that will cover no-cost ideas and tips to help leverage your social media and maximize your presence. I'd like to kick off today's panel by introducing our panelists. We have Diamond Rembert, with the owner of Diamond's Crystal Bar and member of Pause Cincy on Shortvine. We have Kelly Cummins-Gagan, owner of Mio's on Shortvine. If you guys just want to wave as I introduce you, just so people know who you are. We have Chris Human, general manager of the 86 Coffee Bar and Concert Venue.
Hey guys.
And we have Michelle Giblin, managing partner of Business DNA Group. And Tyler Mitten, senior community manager of Yelp Cincinnati. So I want to first get started by talking with the Shortvine small businesses that have really worked to do their best during these current circumstances as people are shifting to an online presence and still trying to drive customers in the door, whether that be online or in person. Let's start off with talking with Kelly about Mio's Pizza. So,
hey guys.
Hey, so as a long-standing business in Corryville and on Shortvine, how have you adapted during COVID-19?
Well, we never actually shut down. We were open from day one, so we really have experienced it from the time that the pandemic started until now. So I would say almost every week we've adjusted to make our business grow and keep our customers interested and keep us relevant. So we did do takeout and delivery right away. We did get the small business loan, which was very helpful to keep my employees employed. And then we started doing takeout cocktails, which was a very popular move for us. And then as we progressed, we had to take half of our tables out of our restaurant. We measured everything. We have been very strict about face masks and everything like that, which is, as you guys all know, is another job in itself, trying to govern the people coming in that don't want to follow the rules. That's hard. It's keeping your staff on top of it. So we've really just adjusted every single week and trying to think of things outside the box to keep us going.
Great. And how have you been able to stay connected with your customers on social media?
We have, since day one, we really have pushed our social media to another level. We've joined some other platforms. As a restaurant, DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber Eats honestly kept us going for quite some time. We gained a lot of customers through that. And I know that, I said something I never thought I did because we have our own delivery drivers, but I'll tell you what, that was a huge thing to have all those platforms going for sure. And our Instagram page, our Twitter, and our Facebook, we've tried to keep it lighthearted, fun, showing the good sides of people. Keeping things really positive has been one of our main goals, that we can all get through the COVID outbreak together and not have a good time doing it in a safe way. We can still have fun and live our lives, but we're going to do it the right way. So social media has been huge. All my social media has got some really fun posts. We made COVID cocktails. We made COVID names for our cocktails, which was a really popular thing. So social media and the DoorDash and Grubhub were one of my top things for sure. And we've got the college kids that are back in school,
Yes. And that's definitely helpful, I think, for all of Shortvine right now, especially even if some of them, I know one of our last virtual sessions we had UC on, and this was before students came back. But I think even though most students are doing classes virtually, they're still around to eat and want coffee, and drink, and somewhere to go. So I think it's awesome that we still have our businesses supported.
Oh, and the students don't have that many choices what they can do right now. So if you create an environment that's safe for the COVID rules and everything, that is comfortable and warm and inviting, that's some of the best feedback I've gotten is from the college kids having a fun place to go to during this time.
Absolutely, and a safe place, a fun, and a place that's taken it seriously too. So,
Absolutely.
And you
and
know what,
really,
Brooke? I know I'm not on the agenda. Oh, sorry.
no, you're okay.
I know I'm not on the agenda during this time, but I really do want to talk about Mio's Clifton and kind of dovetail on what Kelly was talking about, because, you know, one of the key things is you did really step up the social media. I mean, you always done a great job on social, but especially now.
Thank you.
And, you know, they did an awesome job of extending their brand voice and relating to their customers. You know, it's like fun, family from a staff perspective, from the regular perspective. Very appreciative for all the customers.
Yes,
You
that
know,
was
you
important.
guys really stepped it up in a big way. And one of the things that I actually talked to Brooke about that I'd love for you to talk a little bit about for everybody is how you had connected with that customer that customer that stopped in and had raised the funds just kind of organically, and it turned into this really awesome PR opportunity, doing good opportunity, and really kind of extend your growth and your reach as a member of the Short Vine community. So anyway.
Yeah, no, that was one of the coolest things that we've ever been a part of. The gentleman that started is Chad Brendel. He's a sports announcer in Cincinnati. He does the Bearcat Journal. So we had made plans for the fall to do all this really cool stuff on Short Vine with football, and it wasn't happening because of COVID. So he was at his fire pit at his house one night. I was at my fire pit one night, and he called me and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm around a fire pit." He was like, "I just want to do something. I can't stand sitting here and not doing something to make somebody happy. Like, what can we do?" And we started brainstorming. We're like, well, the hospital workers are about to go into something they have no idea. It's very scary. We don't know what to expect. So let's pick one ER and feed them. So we picked University Health. And he put it on Twitter, and within an hour, we had $500. And we ended up raising $8,000, and we fed 2,500 essential workers. And we did it, and we made banners. All the elementary schools made pictures for the workers and the nurses and the doctors. We had so much fun with it, and we had so much, like, it was so appreciative on everybody's end. Chad Brendel was amazing. My staff was amazing. It kept my staff, honestly, it was the best thing for us. It kept us positive, and it kept us feeling good. And it was really cool. It was amazing. And just hearing the stories of the nurses and the essential workers and what they were going through, you know, that honestly was one of the coolest things we've ever been involved in. All of my kids here have grown a lot from it. I truly believe like giving back was one of the best ways people could have gotten through it with a good mental health, positive mental health.
Absolutely.
And
it was good for business all at the same time, which even makes it 10 times, 1,000 times better, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was super great. And then I even had, after that happened, I had a fraternity, the SIG Up fraternity. They raised $1,000 and came to me with $1,000, and they were like, "Can you help us? Can we want to do the same thing?" So we fed another round, and I made, the SIG Ups, they delivered it, and it kind of just grew, and it was pretty cool. And then I saw it happening everywhere. There was people really working together and helping each other everywhere. Short Vine was pretty amazing.
We so appreciate you, especially as a small business owner, partnering with some of our anchor institutions, because that's where really the collaboration happens, and that's where they'll come on their lunch breaks when they want to get a bite to eat. We want them to be walking over to Short Vine. And
Yeah.
so thank you for answering that question. That was one of my next questions, was talking about the GoFundMe initiative. While social media has helped a lot, businesses, like you have talked about, have had to think innovatively about their spaces. Can you expand a little bit more about what you've done with Mio's outdoor patio and some of the table reservations?
Sure, absolutely. We measured all of our tables inside, so we took out the appropriate amount of tables that we could have. We expanded my outside front patio into in front of where Sudsy Malone's was. That was great. That added, like, the front patio, when it was nice out and the kids had nowhere to go, they definitely wanted to sit outside. And then I have also have rented a 20 by 30 tent for the back parking lot, which what I'm doing right now is it's fraternities, it's alumni, it's groups that can call and make reservations. We fit 50 people socially distanced. I have a 65-inch TV that comes outside. So it's been really cool to have the Bearcat fans rented out for the Bearcat games. We just started this. And it's taken off like I didn't know it was going to be like as popular as it is, but people love it. And I am allowing people, if they call before, like the week before the event, and they want to rent my upstairs party room, socially distanced, can fit 25 people. The back deck socially distanced can fit 20 people, and then the back tent area can fit 50 people. So I do have 3 areas that I am renting out for game days or parties or stuff like that. And that's been something. I'm not charging a rental fee because I know that people are having a hard time right now. So we're just kind of trying to keep everyone having some fun. And we can't go to the Bearcats game, but we can watch it. So it's been pretty fun. And my beer companies have been great too. They've chipped in Yeti coolers, jerseys, like all this fun stuff to raffle off for the people that are here. So like I said, we're just trying to keep it fun and think outside the box and just all get through this together. And so far, I feel like the street is doing a great job of that.
For sure. And it's nice for people to book ahead of time. I'm doing that so much with like everything in my life now, just because of COVID and trying to think ahead. So it's nice to know that that's an option. We'll definitely have to promote that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. And thank you, Kelly, for joining and kind of speaking
to
what you've been
up to.
Yes. Absolutely. Mish, I wanted to jump over to you, as we did have a lot of attendees submit questions around marketing and communication. And I wanted to start with, what are 3 ways, I know you have more, but if we can distill it down to 3, because we want to get to everyone today, businesses can build a social media presence. This is a 3-part question. So 3 ways businesses can build a social media presence. What are the most effective social media platforms? That was submitted by a few people. People are just wondering which one to go to, what one is most effective for them, rather than having 5+. And a follow-up, are you seeing a decline in engagement on social media now that things have gone virtual? We had one question submitted around, I think there's been some consistency with social media, but then as everyone is getting on it, they may be seeing less people liking their page or interacting with their content.
So I'm kind of going to lump everything together, if that's okay with you, because it really kind of all comes together. But when you talk about the 3 ways that a business can build your social media presence. So, one thing that we've experienced is a lot of companies that are, a small to medium business size, they don't have the bandwidth like a larger company does to have a digital department, a social media department. And in most cases, it's a representative that works for your team or the owner themselves. And I think the biggest misconception is that people believe that they have to be on every single platform doing something every single day across multiple platforms, and it becomes tiring before they even get started. I think the most important thing that you need to think about is, who is your customer? Who is your primary customer? Because you don't just want to do social media to do it. When you are a business, you do it for a purpose, to help drive interest and business revenue to your business. So you need to really identify with who your best customer, who your target customer is, what they like to do, maybe the age demographic that they're in, what other things that they like in addition to, using Mio's Pizza, for example. So obviously, Kelly talked about how she's extended what she's doing with Bearcat football games and watch parties and things like that. So obviously, because of where we are on Shortvine, you see students are a huge part of who our audience is. And so then you decide who that audience is and where they spend, what platform they spend most of their time on. So you can successfully grow revenue and interest in your social media presence off of 1 or 2 platforms. You don't have to have 10 different platforms. But what you do need to do is make sure that you are committed to those platforms on a regular basis, because the worst thing that anybody can do is set it up and grow it and then walk away from it. I think we all agree, when we go to see a business on social media and they haven't posted since 2015, we're like, wah, wah, right? So you really need to kind of commit to it and decide what you have the time. So one, it's knowing your customer, and looking at those age groups of your customer and what channels they're spending the most time on, right? Then you need to stay local. So, tagging and hashtagging people in your posts, whether they're partner companies, whether they're other businesses that you're working with, whether it's the University of Cincinnati Athletics or Bearcat football, tag those partners in a post appropriately and on a regular basis, because that grows your audience. Then secondly, if you're on Instagram, for instance, obviously hashtags are very important. So a lot of companies we work with, they have no idea what hashtags to use. They don't know how hashtags can help their business. And they sometimes, in a lot of cases, haven't even developed a signature hashtag for their business where people can search. So like I would consider a signature hashtag like hashtag my short vine. So, since we started on social media with short vine, we have 3,800 hashtag my short vine entries into that. And that's really how people are able to find us in the shortest, quickest way possible. So that's what you want. You want that portal to your business. And so to develop that signature hashtag, whether it's Mio's Clifton or the 86 or Diamonds Crystal, you need to make sure that that makes sense for your business, and then make sure that you include it every time. The other part of it that I think is very important is to just research trending hashtags in the Cincinnati market. So if you just go to Google and you research top 10 trending hashtags for UC football in the last 2 months, it's going to give you those trending hashtags. And so you want to hop on that party and use those hashtags, because more people are going to find you. Everything that you're doing on your social media pages is going to expand, again, your audience. And so none of this that we're talking about costs any money except for time, which time is money with business owners and employees. So you really need to decide what the best fit is based on your goals for your social media, what you want to do, the audience that you serve, and how much time you can really dedicate to doing it right, and finding your brand voice. The other part, the other opportunity that we've had a lot of success on is partnering with local social media influencers. And so there's a lot of different partners in the local market that either follow professional sports, amateur sports. I'm talking with UC Athletics, down to local foodie influencers, local cocktail influencers, and so on and so forth, because then most of these influencers have 300,000-400,000 people across all of their channels that follow them. Number one, it's an endorsement to your product or service. Number two, it can help jumpstart, what you are doing if you are just starting social media, or you want to grow your presence and take it to the next level, and you want to dedicate some resources to do that. I think contesting on a regular basis is great. Asking for customer feedback or focusing on testimonials is huge, because again, when you look at that one person that came in to your business and had a great experience, think about, on average, each person on Facebook has 500 friends. So you tag a testimonial because it's a great testimonial, all of your followers see it, that customer gets so excited, then shares it with their friends, and it just grows and grows. And that's all through organic content. That's not spending any money related to social media. And I think I already hit 3, didn't I? One of the other things too is what Kelly talked about earlier, is generating original content. Think of social media as the new PR. It gives you an opportunity to post videos, post images, and those are on there forever. and you can repost them. You can spend a little bit of money through advertising through social to boost those to your audience and your customer base. So, that's really how the process starts. And did I answer that question, Brooke?
Yeah, absolutely. And would you say from the outlets that you work on and that you've worked on with clients, is there one platform that's more effective than the other? I know certain platforms work better for different types of businesses, but would you have any recommendations around that?
So I would say if you're a business and you are on social media, there's a broad stroke as far as, Facebook, obviously the younger generation is more on Snapchat and Instagram, but they're still using Facebook for events. So if you do a virtual event with your business or an event, that's a lot of where that younger audience will opt in because they're still paying attention with it. Facebook, as far as the audience growth, this isn't a normal year. This isn't in a COVID year. The growth is going to be 45 plus, that 45 to 55-year-old customer. And Instagram actually was way younger a couple of years ago, and now they're going more towards the 25 to 50 or 25 to 34 kind of line. But try not to think about what the global market is for those social media channels. What you need to do is you need to look at your followers, look at who they are, the age of who they are, what they like to do, and then choose that platform that is the best fit for you. If you want to launch the 12 to 17-year-old crowd, obviously you're going to want to be on TikTok. TikTok's becoming more mainstream now more than ever during COVID, but the younger generation is doing TikTok videos. But again, you have to be authentic and relevant to your brand. I mean, customers are going to see right through it if you decide to go on TikTok and, try to relate to them. It has to be very natural, very organic, and make sense for your business. And so, we are a big fan and a big proponent of analytics and really deciding, that age of who you think your customer is and that age and that neighborhood of where your social media followers live, and then capitalize on that and grow that. So, every single person that we work with, we talk about Facebook. So, another client that we're working with besides Shortfind is a tech training startup, and their clients, their prospect for their classes is a 17 to 23-year-old male. But we are using Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And because of the content that we're posting and the way that we're boosting and how we're paying attention to what we're doing on social, we have just as many 18 to 21-year-olds as on Facebook as we do on Instagram and Twitter. So it's just how the content works together and how you speak to your customer. I hope that helps.
Yes.
It's a really broad question. So.
No, I definitely think it does. And I feel like with the many different social media platforms that come out, so many businesses, if they don't have someone just like you said in charge of marketing or social media, they're just trying to navigate the current landscape. But I think you really covered that for us. I do want to jump and speak with Chris about the 86 Coffee Bar and Concert Venue. And since you're located right across from the University of Cincinnati in Corryville, how have you been able to market your business to students besides being in walkable distance to much needed caffeine? I know that definitely helps. They can see it.
That definitely helps. Yeah, I mean, really, both Kelly and Michelle kind of hit on all of it. It's really mainly social media. Thankfully for us, we're kind of viewed as, we're a community space. So during COVID, people being cooped up a lot of the students were gone. The people being cooped up in their dorm rooms or being cooped up in their apartments or whatever were just looking for some kind of piece of normalcy. So just even we never did shut down, but we did we were doing carry out But just for someone to be able to walk down the street and grab a cup of coffee and feel normal for a few minutes was kind of a welcome reprieve. But one of the main things that we've done as far as marketing goes, and it was kind of a whoops, we kind of stumbled onto it. We were having, obviously a coffee shop depends on our Wi-Fi. Lots of people come to just use the Wi-Fi or have meetings or whatever. But the problem we were having is, we might have 50 people in the building, but we'd have 150 or more devices like connected to our internet. I started talking to the guy that he's a friend of mine that does it professionally, but started talking to him about what is the deal? Is this all people around us, logging onto our Wi-Fi and it wasn't that. It was because we were using a password login. So if I've got my Apple Watch and my iPad and my backpack and my computer and whatever else, my phone, that have all logged onto your Wi-Fi, if you're using a password-based Wi-Fi system, as soon as they walk in the door, all 5 or 6 of those connect back to your Wi-Fi. So you've got all these devices connecting and drawing data from your Wi-Fi. So he said, well, why don't we just have people, these APs that we have would allow you to do your internet logins rather than through a password. They could log in or check in on Facebook and it automatically let them on. So that answered the problem of having too many devices, because if they didn't check in on each device, then the other devices weren't on. But also, like I said, it was a whoops. It is by far the #1 marketing thing we've ever done. It's
Let's do that.
just people checking in every time they're I can't tell you how many people I've heard them walk in and go, oh, I saw you check in, so I came over, or that kind of thing. And it's been amazing. Actually, that our APs, there's some kind of problem going on with that now. So we have jumped back to a password-based login, but we're going to switch back off of that. But it was crazy how many people we had either engaging with us through social media. Even, I'm told that Facebook is an old guy's social media platform from the students. But they all have it, even if they're not using it, and they see the check-ins and they do pay attention to what's going on Facebook. So that was the only social media platform that was offered through our APs, but it's been great. Yeah, and just doing anything we could do to connect with the students, kind of spinning off of what Kelly was talking about with the doing the pizzas and whatnot. We were delivering like free coffee over to the emergency rooms at night and that kind of thing. And I had people start, saying, hey, can we give money towards that? And it just we were on a skeleton crew, and it was me making runs at, midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever, delivering coffee over there. So that got to be too much, but we started this other program called Give a Cup. And it's basically, you come in, you pay $4, and you get a little card that says, who do you want this to go to? And people, some make it out to a student or to a single mother or to a member of the trans community or whatever it is. And then on the back, they can write a little positive note to them. And we just put them up on the wall behind the counter. And as we're talking to people when they come in, someone will be like, my day really sucks right now. Give you an example. Last week, guy came in, him and his wife are divorcing. He's taking his child with him, and he's just feeling like, he was telling us how he's feeling like a really awful parent and, awful husband, and, life sucks. And there was one of those up there that said for a single parent, and we just turned around and said, this one's for you, man. Gave him a free coffee, and he flipped it over and started crying at our counter. Because on the back it said, you're doing a great job. Like it was just the perfect thing. But anyway, so kind of doing that kind of spun off into this Give a Cup program, and people just love it, and it helps them feel part of the community, feels like they're doing something for someone else. So that's been really cool too.
Oh, absolutely. And that comes completely full circle. Not only do people feel like they're giving, but then you're able to witness and your staff is able to witness people enjoy a cup of coffee,
On
on
someone else.
someone
Yeah.
else in the community.
Yeah.
Those were two really great examples for people, especially the Wi-Fi um, Facebook switch. I've gone to a few places that have that, and you're right. It does kind of drive people to like, hey, you're going to sit here, you're going to drink a cup of coffee, and you're going to use our Wi-Fi. So why don't you just check in? It helps us out, and you're able to still connect to all of your devices. So that's great. And I know that you have recently been infusing some mini events. I've seen some of that on Facebook. And can you share a little bit more about your events and how you have been able to market those, or if you're going to continue some mini events?
Yeah, well, so we always have done concerts and events, and when we moved to this location, the city blocked us from doing that, telling us that live events were forbidden on this property, which was completely ridiculous. So we had to do a public hearing, and literally 2 weeks before COVID hit, we got our approval back from the city. Yes, you can do live music and events now, and then COVID hit. But we have art on our walls that's all local artists. Once a month we do an art opening. Whoever the new artist is that's hanging the week that they hang, then that like Friday night we'll do like an art opening for them, and they can invite their friends to see their art on the walls. And then this kind of dovetails into the next question we were going to talk about. But locally stuff we love helping anybody local, small businesses. And so we've done a few like pop-up events. One of the most popular ones that we've done recently is with a husband and wife team. They call themselves Cultivar, and they just do like propagation of plants and whatever. I had no idea this would be a big thing, but they've done a couple of pop-ups, and they bring up a tent out front and set up and bring all these plants that they sell. And it has been packed. They decided they were going to do it. They said, well, let's just try it one time and see how it goes. And I said, why don't we do it once a month, until it gets cold? And they're like, well, let's just see how this first one goes. And before it was even over, they were asking if they could come back the following week. I was like, well, I think that's too much, but they'll be back again next week. And then before the end of October, they'll be back again. But then we've got another pop-up coming, and it's basically just setting up a tent out, front on the, we have a little pad out there that we're setting up on. But yeah, just anything we can do to involve other businesses and, kind of organically like promote each other. And even during those events, Cultivar's posting things on their social media, and their people are responding, and their people are coming and getting things and posting pictures. So it's kind of a big social media frenzy like during those events.
Oh, for sure. That cross promotion, especially when you're right now, when we're able to continue doing things outside before it gets super cold. I know people love going somewhere where they can get a cup of coffee and go to a market and things like that. So you're definitely bringing that element to Corryville and Shorevine. But yeah, you touched on the locally part. So thank you for giving those examples. And I hope the businesses tuning in today can just hear some ideas and hear ways that you can increase either social media or start some mini events to drive customers through your door.
Yeah, something else is like, it's funny because we have this ugly mug wall behind our counter, and people can pick a cup to drink out of while we're here. And we have like Rose Street Cafe and different other coffee shops. And I promote other local business. Well, this, God Save the Queen. This is our honey, Bee Haven honey. Any way I can to promote other local businesses, and people will come in and go, oh, that's funny. You have a Rose Street mug on your ugly mug wall, thinking it's kind of a slap to them because we're kind of competitors. And it's like, no, we love those guys. They're great. And anything, we'll post on our social media, hey, if you're on south side of campus, go hit up Rose Street. They got this going on today, that kind of thing. And that kind of takes people aback because they feel like that's weird. Why you're promoting a competitor? Or I've had people come in and say, why did you post that for a competitor? Are you guys part of the same company? Or like, there are 40,000 students across the street from us. Even if there were 10 of us around campus, we could never handle all the capacity if we, so to me, the more we can promote other businesses, even if they're quote unquote competitors of ours, it's the thing to do.
For sure. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing all of that.
Yep.
And I want to bop back over to Mish to answer another question that we had submitted about increasing online sales. So how can Uptown businesses increase online sales, whether that be through DoorDash or developing an e-commerce platform or strengthening in that way? Do you have any tips for our audience?
How come I get all the hard questions? That's what I would like to say. Anyway, sorry. But I'm actually, there's a couple of different things. When you talk about online sales, I mean, anybody that has been on this panel right now, there's probably been at least a half a dozen different ideas that have been shared already, and we haven't even talked to Diamond or Tyler yet. And so I think really listening to everything that the short line businesses have explained on different things that they have done, I think is really critical. When you talk about, I think one of your questions earlier was, how many more people, or has social media engagement declined, since the pandemic? And no, that's exactly the opposite. And people want to stay. Diamond and I have talked about, I think that people need to stay connected and they need to feel that sense of community now more than ever. And so if you can figure out ways, because there is no blueprint or handbook for what we're going through right now, but if you can figure out ways to stay connected and test some things like Chris is doing with Cultivar, and Kelly's doing with the Bearcat football games, and really see there's no one right or wrong answer. If I knew it all, wouldn't that be great? But so you really have to kind of think outside the box. Don't think about connecting to them. Think about what Chris said about connecting with that one individual through his buy a cup, give a cup. And it's all about that one-to-one connection. And that is the best way to connect with your customers. And when you connect with them and you build a passion in them and an emotion for your product, they are going to buy from you. And so that's the key. That's the key of it. I think Tyler's, Diamond's going to talk about, because, they opened shortly before, 2 weeks before, everything shut down with COVID. And, again, staying connected more than ever, and completely pivoting her business from, a storefront to doing more online and becoming a mindful resource to her existing customers and new customers. I think she's going to talk a lot about that. And then also what we're going to hear from Tyler as far as the things that you can do with Yelp to maximize customer engagement with Yelp, the check-ins, having the right information on your page, using the app. A couple of our other short line businesses use the Yelp app for reservations to dine in for their business, to make sure that everything is socially distanced and copacetic and nobody has to wait in line or near each other or whatever. So I think it's that combination. And I know we're talking about a lot of information today, and I just wanted to say that I'll send you a one sheet of, just different tips and tricks that we talk about that you can send to the people that have opted in, because I think it would be a good reference point for them.
Absolutely. We always send a follow-up email with contact information as well as any resources for anything that we've talked about today. So with some of that, I want to kick it over to Diamond, because I know we could talk all day about all of this stuff. But since you are the newest business to Shortvine on the call today, can you share a little bit more about, for those that may not know, about Pause Scentsy and the businesses within Pause at the new Shortvine's shop?
Yeah. So I am Diamond, Diamond's Crystal Bar, and there are 4 entrepreneurs out of the Pause space. So I focus on crystals, energy healing, anything that's more like mindful meditation. We have Erica, another business called District 7, or she's the owner, but business is called District 78. That focuses on just being like a lifestyle wellness type brand. She does candles, plants,
recently like launched a cutlery, so just lots of different things there. We have another company called Matunda Juicery, where you're able to come in and get fresh,
Hey,
fresh.
Kelly.
I'm
Would-
here.
Hey, would you mind muting yourself? I think it's making Diamond sound a little bit quieter. Oh, there we go.
And then we
There we go.
also have Perfect Touch Helps, which is a massage focused business. She does massage. She also creates her own oils and other kind of products for the body. And I definitely say we are a collaborative wellness space that's just there to help allow you to take a pause. That's kind of been our play on words, is we want people to intentionally just like come in and feel really safe and comfortable and just able to relax for a moment, especially what we're all dealing with right now. I think taking a pause is needed more than ever.
That's exciting. I know there's a lot of excitement around pause, and I think it brings another element to the street outside of food and drink. So we're really excited about that. And kind of speaking along those lines, and as Mish mentioned, you all kind of opened right before the pandemic touched down. How did you quickly pivot your specific business within Pause to stay afloat?
Yeah, so Diamond's Crystal Bar did a lot of vending events,
And those were all canceled. So I really had to shift to more online and giving people a more hands-on way to connect with me. So I did a lot of virtual sessions. I also like increased my online sales by just promoting like flash deals and other things that people could just take advantage of while also engaging with me, because I feel like a lot of what I do is connecting with my customers and being that face and able to interact with everyone. That kind of being taken away, I really leaned a lot on Zoom and Google Hangouts, other ways to just connect with customers. And then I think I really focus on social media, just being consistent, whether it be, posting a positive affirmation, a crystal that you could carry for the day, just being some positive energy. I think really had a really good impact on my business, and then also my customers. I felt we were all more engaged than ever, and I learned a lot about what it means to just kind of show up for people in a really invisible way, whether that be like, I'm actually commenting on other people's posts and then just actually engaging. I think that made a really big impact.
That's great. And it sounds like, especially for a business like yours, like your current customer base is probably pretty loyal and they know the work that you do, so they are coming back to you. How have you been able to use social media or other ways to attract new customers, especially with this new opportunity with Pause on Shorevine?
Yeah, I think it's been really awesome I've noticed recently just college students just walking past and wanting to come in, because otherwise they may not know who we are or what we're doing. So we've just been I've really been taking this like
More open door approach, like inviting people into the space, like creating like office hours for you to come in and ask about crystals or ask about questions in general about what we're offering. And I think that really kind of closed the gap on people just feeling more comfortable, because when you don't know about a business, we had to think of new ways to just engage, and a lot of the time that just looked like opening up our doors and like letting people know that we were open, and that like this is the space that we've created. I feel like word of mouth was huge for us. At least the first I'd say at least like 2 months, word of mouth was just the shift and one, people figuring out what was still open because so many things had closed. We also just changed our hours so that we could accommodate people that were the hours that we felt we were getting the most traffic. And I think all of those changes was awesome because people were responding messaging us, doing a lot of like sales in our stories so that one, if you wanted to, you could just come by and pick something up and you didn't necessarily have to engage. So just creating new ways to engage and connect.
For sure. I love taking advantage of the signs that say call when you arrive. I mean, I've really taken advantage of that, but sometimes I miss that interaction, but it is still nice to see, like someone coming out to your car. But I mean, it's a nice perk. I mean, it makes things pretty accessible, and you're still kind of getting people through the door if they know that it's going to be even more accessible for them, right? To
Yeah.
just come
And
out.
I'd say I'm learning that convenience is something that a lot of people are definitely willing to pay for.
Oh, yes.
And the more you can make something convenient and accessible, I think it just adds to what you can, provide for the customer.
Absolutely. Well, those were some great suggestions, especially, being new to the street and having Pause just kind of launching. We're excited to watch that grow and to support you all on Shorefine.
Thanks.
I'm going to now bob over to Tyler, hoping we can get some great questions and information about Yelp Cincinnati. I think we did have a lot of people sign up today that were specifically interested in that as an aspect that they had not collaborated with before. So I want to start off by asking what your role is with Yelp.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Tyler Minton. I am the Senior Community Manager of Yelp Cincinnati. So to grow the Yelp community and to connect them with great local businesses. We mostly do this by partnering on events and promotions with local businesses and giving a space for our community to connect with the businesses and to each other. So we find that when we give our Yelp Elite Squad, which are our most engaged users, is the people who use Yelp the most, they give the best reviews. You're not going to find Yelp leads who are giving all like 1-star reviews. These are champions of local businesses. And when we give these people a space to connect with each other and local businesses, they end up bringing their friends, their family, their loved ones to Yelp and to these local businesses. So in the day and age of Google, that's how Yelp has continued to thrive and grow. Brooke, I think you're muted.
Yes. Can you provide some examples of successful virtual events that Yelp has put on with local small businesses?
Yeah, I'll actually, I'll send a little link in the chat here and we can always include it in the follow-up too. I'm actually kicking off an event series today called the Behind the Dream event series, where we are highlighting immigrant, minority, LGBTQ, woman, and veteran-owned businesses throughout the community. So this is just one example of an event series that we've done where we're really trying to reach all corners of our community and show them that they're welcome in these businesses, and these are businesses that they should celebrate and frequent. We've done businesses in the Shorevine community in the Uptown area. We just did one recently through Mesh with Kebabski, where we did a promotion where Yelp elites could come purchase what we call a Yelp meal or a Yes meal, where it was they purchased a $12 meal through Kebabski that was given in a Yelp tote bag as well as like a Yelp phone charger. So it's our way of getting them engaged with Yelp. They get a little Yelp swag with it as well, and they get to try a new business. So that's one example of a promotion that we've done with a local business in the Uptown community. I think Chris mentioned something earlier that really struck home with me in terms of how we think about doing virtual events with our community. And he said that people want to feel normal. So I think that it's super important to think about when we do virtual events, the more we can put something physical in someone's hand, teach them something, learn something together, the more we actually get that opportunity to engage them with our businesses and our brands. So if a virtual event is something that you're thinking about doing, one, I would recommend reaching out to me because it's something we've done a lot of. It's free to partner with us. There's no charge to host a virtual Yelp event with us. So reach out and we can connect about what would maybe be best for your business. And two, prepare to get creative, because there's so many of these virtual events that have been so done out now. Everyone has done a virtual cocktail class, and they're great and they're fine, but it's so played out that like, let's get really creative. Let's think what can really bring in new people to your business. And I think that you ended on a great note before when you were talking about how to get people to, physically purchase something. I think now is a great time to think ahead in terms of right now, people are thinking about how can I shop local for the holidays? And you know, I think for us, when we're trying to direct traffic at these businesses, our messaging is so much different this year. It's not a matter of like, you should support local. It's a matter of, if you don't support local, these businesses that you love and that you rely on aren't going to be there anymore. You know, this is a completely different situation. So I think that it's great now to be thinking about what your business is doing in terms of holiday shopping, especially being in the Uptown area. You know, people are going to be purchasing gifts for their college students or people they know that are going to be in that area. So what are you doing to reach those people who are trying to shop local for the holidays?
For sure. And I think that's a really good thing to think about already, the holidays. This year has flown by. Speaking of businesses getting ready for the holidays, how can businesses and organizations maximize their own Yelp listing?
Yeah, I honestly think that first things first on this is to kind of go back to basics. Some of these things are applicable whether or not we're in a pandemic, whether or not there's social unrest. These are things that you have to be thinking about from the get-go. The first is claim your business page. So if you get on Yelp and you search for your business, you'll see right by your business if it's claimed or not. If it's unclaimed, there'll be a little button there where you can click to claim your business, or you can go to biz.yelp.com and you can also claim your business there. That's where you'll create your biz listing. Once you create that biz listing, one of the first things I'll tell business owners to do is add photos to your Yelp biz listing and make sure to caption those photos. So if you upload photos of, for example, if you're Mio's and you upload photos of different pizzas you have, make sure to caption those photos with the specific pizzas that are in the photos. And the reason I say that is those photos and any content on your page acts just like SEO does on your website. It's, you know, when people are searching for things on Yelp, our algorithm is searching for those search terms within your page. So if you don't do anything to your Yelp page, you're relying on users to upload all of those search terms for you. And that might work, but it's always great because you have that added benefit that you can add photos for free. It's free to claim your page, free to upload those photos and caption them. Next, I would recommend definitely make sure you add your business hours. If people are searching for things that are open right then when they're out and about, and they do that search for what's open now, if you don't have your hours on the page, you've just lost business because you're not even going to search, you're not even going to appear in the search results. So it's super important that you have your business hours on your page as well. There's also a section on your biz profile where you can complete a about the biz section, about the biz owner section, and just tell people a little bit about what you're about. You know, there's, you know, Yelp is a place where people come to talk about your business, but there's a section where you get to tell your own story as well. So make sure to take the time and fill that out. As long as your business has under, I believe it's 7 locations, that feature is free, just the about the biz section. And then lastly, I will say, make sure that once you've claimed your page, you're responding to reviews. 80% of reviews are 3 stars and above, about 70% are 4-star and above. The vast majority of Yelp reviews are positive reviews, but negative ones do happen. And you should be replying, I think, to both. It doesn't mean you have to give like a super elaborate response when somebody writes a nice review of you, but just even acknowledging the user, I think, is a great way to show that you care about the fact that they took the time to spread good word about your business. And then when you have that instance where a negative review comes in, my advice is always to pause, to take the high road. And trust me, I know it's tough. I create event pages when I host events. They get reviews just like businesses. And I'll never forget the first time I got my first negative Yelp review on my own event. I took it to my boss and I was like, look at this review. I can't believe this happened. And she said, now you know what it's like to be a business owner. And I've always thought of that as a really cool moment where I've kind of started to understand it. It is so profoundly personal when you read something about your business. But my advice to you is to pause, to take the high road and to take it offline, meaning thank you for drawing this to our attention. This is something that is very important to us. Here's an email here. Please reach out to me and let's make this right. Everybody's going to see that comment. they're not going to necessarily see exactly how you handled it. And that offline experience is where they email you, is where you're going to get to determine how this should be fixed. What is the best way to fix the issue? But I think that's the best way to go about it. Right now, during COVID-19, there's also sections where you can update COVID-specific safety precautions that your business has taken on there. If you have outdoor seating, if your outdoor seating is covered, if you have carry out, delivery, things like that. And I think it's, we talked a little bit earlier with Kelly about how, Grubhub was so important to her business. Grubhub has direct integration with Yelp. So keep in mind that your reputation on Yelp can also impact the amount of business that you get from some of those services as well.
One thing that I've been doing on Yelp, so this might just be good insight for you working for Yelp, but is looking up, I was most recently looking up places where I could sit outdoors during lunchtime because I wanted to leave the office. And I'm in the office right now. We all have our own offices. There's less than 10 of us. And so I feel very safe. But on days like today, when it's beautiful outside, I want to find a place where I can go sit outside. And so often, sometimes it's on a Monday, and so many places are closed on Monday. So I wish there was like a Yelp page for Mondays. Just a thought or an idea. But seriously, sometimes I wish there was a Yelp page just for Mondays to see who's open on Mondays because I didn't pack my lunch or something. So I think a lot of the advice, though, that you've given around Yelp is really helpful because some people immediately think of it as a negative platform because they know a business or they know a customer is going to complain. But really, it can be such an asset to businesses if they're engaging through Yelp and utilizing you as a resource, especially and for some of these virtual events.
And what we're finding too is that our users are also right now so intrinsically motivated by what's going on in the world to help local businesses. So I think it's a great time to give them that space to talk positively about your business.
Absolutely. And then we are running, we already are out of time. This is actually my longest panel we've done, but we've had just such great content. I did want to ask one more question about with social distancing in mind and how can visitors use Yelp app for reservations? If you wanted to speak to that as one of our wrap-up questions, and then we'll include everyone's contact information that's participated today, as well as some follow-up resources within an email in the next few days to our attendees. So Tyler, if you want to kind of speak to Yelp and reservations with COVID in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just dropped 2 links down in the chat as well. And I'm sure we can find another way to get those to folks who are just listening to this via recording.
Yeah, I'm copying them over to another document, so no worries.
Awesome. Perfectly. Yeah, those are 2 great resources, and they'll even touch on what I'm about to say a little bit as well. So you can make reservations directly through the Yelp app with restaurants that use Yelp reservations. Same with, there's Yelp owns waitlist, so you can use Yelp to join the waitlist at restaurants that utilize the waitlist feature. Those are paid features with businesses. They're great tools, and if anybody needs information about that, reach out to me and I can put you in touch with those people. But even if you aren't using Yelp's features of Yelp reservations and Yelp waitlist, you can still include on your listing if you accept reservations. And it's this in the same content that I was talking about earlier on making sure that your business page is up to date with all that information. I could give a whole presentation on just updating your business page with slides and everything. But if you go through your entire business page and make sure that you're giving that information, you're doing yourself such a service to making sure that you're showing up in as many search results as possible. If you do a search on Yelp right now for pizza, for tacos, whatever, you'll see those little check marks that say, accepts reservations, outdoor dining, outdoor seating, social distancing between tables, stuff like that. You'll see all those little check marks there. So make sure that you're checking as many of those as you can, because a lot of people are looking for those things right now. Mm-hmm. And lastly, I know we're out of time here, but I will say, please reach out to me with questions. I would be happy to set up a time to chat with anybody. Cincy, C-I-N-C-Y, at yelp.com will get to me, or feel free to shoot me a note on our Instagram channel at Yelp Cincy. Be happy to chat with anyone.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to include that and send that out for anyone. I know there's been a few people that have had to drop off just because we went over time a little bit. But I did want to thank everyone that joined today. to learn more from many successful Uptown businesses, whether they are new or old, as well as to hear from 2 marketing experts in this area and 3 businesses that have really quickly transitioned to market themselves the best way possible in Uptown Cincinnati. And I hope the material presented was useful. Our next virtual panel through the consortium will be on Wednesday, October 14th with UC Health. And that one is really speaking to COVID-19 updates at that current time, as well as the upcoming flu season and testing. And that'll be with President and CEO, Dr. Lofgren. So if anybody is interested in joining, feel free to reach out to me and I will send follow-up information about further virtual events. Again, they're for all Uptown businesses and community members. So thank you to our panelists for jumping on today and hanging in there and listening to each other, as well as our attendees. We really appreciate folks coming out for these, and we hope they're useful to everyone. Awesome.
Thank you.
See you guys later. Thank you.